Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn how to configure groups and call forwarding in Inform Voice. Let's start with pickup groups. A pickup group is a group of stations. If anybody calls one of those members and the call is ringing, any other member of that group can pick up the call by simply dialing an access code. Let's create one group as an example. We will go to our IFV administrator. We will go to the general tab, open up the list of elements here, and we will locate one that's called pickup group. We will right click and we can add a pickup group. Our example consists of a customer that has three different sites, one in Chicago, one in Orlando, and one in Las Vegas. So we will create a group in the Chicago area. For example, the tech support group. Now I can add the stations that will belong to that group. And at this point, I can either use the Shift key and the arrow keys to select a continuous range of stations, or the Control key and click on the different stations to select a non-consecutive one. I will select a consecutive one for this example, and I will click OK, and I will click OK again, and the group has been created. Now we need to learn with what access code do we trigger this functionality. In Inform Voice, the access code for the features are called star codes. You can see there is an item here called star codes. I'll double click on it, and you will see a list of features and the access codes that enable or disable a particular feature. All the access codes start with a star, and this is why they are named star codes. Let's look for the features that are related to pickup. And here you can see one that's called pickup address. That's this the one that we call directed pickup. I can dial star 93 plus a rigging station, and I will pick up that ringing call. Here is the pickup group access code, star 92, that triggers the functionality for the pickup group that we just created. And there is also a pickup zone access code that pickups any ringing call in a station that belongs to a specific zone. We can also edit the entries. And there is one item that is an enable or disable feature for that particular code. It turns out that in some instances, the only way to disable a feature in Inform Voice is to disable the access code. So this is why the checkbox is there. And there is also the possibility to change the actual default code. Instead of being star 91 here, I can use a different value, but the feature code still needs to start with a star. Okay, next we will look at the ringing groups. The ringing groups are groups that ring in different ways depending on the group type, which I will mention in a minute. And those groups are triggered by calling a specific pilot number. So first we will need to create a pilot number and then define the type of group that that pilot number will work with. So we will go first to the numbering plan, and we will create an extension. We will give it a name, a number. We will give it a name, Sales Chicago. As you can see, I entered the name as a last name only. When you have a name that will be either the last name or the first name, it's better to use the last name, because the way that Inform Voice works is to present the names in a format last name, comma, first name. So when we have only one field, it's better to use the last name. And now we have the different types of groups here. If we select just group, the call will ring in all the members of that group simultaneously. If we select round robin group, the system will try to spread the calls evenly throughout the members of the group. In other technologies, you might see that functionality as a uniform call distribution. There is a last type of group, which is called the linear group, which in other technologies would be called the hunting group. The list is fixed, and the first station will ring first. If that station is busy, the next station will ring, and then the next and the next. So for this example, let's create a round robin group. As for the type, it's basically to change the icon that will be displayed in IFV Administrator, so we can recognize the type of number easily. We obviously can select the zone, and that would be. Let's apply it. Now the next activity is to add the stations to this group. We can add the stations straight from here with this button, Add Station. And in this case, we can use exactly the same way as we used before, the Shift key and the arrow keys, or the Control key and pick and choose the station. So I can use the Control key in this case. I will use the 1004, 1007, and 1009. Those are my sales representatives. I will hit OK, and I will hit Apply. So I'm sure that the stations have been assigned. And my group is done. Now let's add certain features to the group. The first feature I will add is the ability for one of the stations in the group to own this Chicago sales pilot number. Why? Because I will give that particular station the ability to change the forwarding conditions on that pilot number. So I will go back to the Stations tab, and I will choose one of the stations to be kind of the supervisor of this group. So I will choose Susan Smith, 1007. You can see here a list of numbers, which are the extensions that are related to that station. So the extension 1007 is the actual extension number for this station, Susan Smith. And here you have the pilot number 1210. I can select the ownership checkbox here, and that will make 1210 be owned by Susan Smith. Now, how can Susan Smith change the forwarding conditions of herself and of the pilot number? Well, this is done using the UC client application, which is a client runs in PC. and it's part of the unified communication offering of Inform Voice. We will cover the unified communication feature in a different video, but here I will show you how can we perform the forwarding using the IFV administrator. So let's go back to the numbering plan, and I will select the pilot number, and you will see that the pilot number contains a forwarding tab. All the extensions contain a forwarding tab, except for the case in which we work with unified communications, in which we will make the user control the forwarding. In this case, the extensions are forwarded. You will see that there is a forwarding profile already created. This is created by default when we create a new extension. Let's see how this forwarding profile is built. So I click on the schedule button, and you can see it's valid all day for every day of the week. Well, I will change that. So I will remove this profile and start fresh with a new set of profiles. And let's make 4 profiles. My first profile will be a profile for the evenings. I will consider only the weekdays, and I will use the Monday as the example here. So as for the evening, I will consider the evening starting at 5 p.m. because the salespeople work until 5. Until midnight will be my evening. Okay. Then I will create another profile called night. Again, I will consider only the weekdays, and now my night starts at midnight and ends at 8 a.m., which is when the salespeople start working again. Then I will create a schedule for the day, which is the actual work day, right? So I will create a work day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, I will create a profile for the weekend, just in case I want to do something different in the weekends compared to the weekdays. As you can see, I only added the Monday, and obviously I will repeat the same pattern on the different days of the week. So I got my schedules, and you can see here it will tell me exactly what schedule the current date and time belongs to. Now I can add my forwarding condition. So I will make the group to be forwarded to a specific station when the salespeople are not at the office. So that would be the evenings, the night, and even the weekends, let's say. So I can add a forwarding condition. I can add, for example, extension 1001, which would be a sort of operator. I can forward immediately or forward after a certain time, would be a no answer condition. I can also forward based on the origin of the call, not just every call, but internal calls, external calls, and other different options. But we will make it easy. I can even forward to an outbound external number, right? And I can also keep the call ringing and forward the call at the same time. I will make it easy here. And okay, I will do the same for the night. And actually, I can do something different for the weekends, and I can choose a different station for the weekend. As you can see, I can add conditions to the forwarding. So I can make a list of conditional forwardings that will be followed here, if it makes sense, of course. So as you can see, forwarding it's very, very powerful, and you can define schedules, and you can define different ways to forward. You can define forward by origin. So it's really, really very powerful. Now, regarding that group functionality, there is one last feature I want to talk about. What happens if all the sales representatives are busy? Well, the caller will feel busy. So what if I don't want to do that? What if I want to implement some sort of queuing mechanism so the caller can stay in queue while one of the salespeople become available? Can I do this? Yes, we can do this. It's a very simple queuing mechanism, but this is how it works. First, we will need to define a message that we will play when all the members of the group are busy. So we will go to the General tab, and we will go to an item called Announcements, and you will see one that's called Queue Announcements. There is already one called Default Announcement, and I can even play it for you.
Thank you for calling. Your call will be answered in the order it was received. Please wait.
So we can create more of those announcements, and we just need to record a new announcement. The announcement has to be recorded or converted to a WAV file with 8 kilohertz sampling rate. It has to be 8-bit or 16-bit mono, and it has to be PCM MULO. Those are the conditions for the WAV file. Now I will show you where to save the WAV file in the file system in a minute. And also the file name will have a convention. It must be the name announcement and a 4-digit number from 0001 to 9999. Now, once we have the announcement recorded and placed in the proper place, we can go back to the pilot number of the group. We can go to the forwarding tab, and we need to get back to the general tab and enable the queuing functionality. So we will click on the enable queuing, and we will select the announcement we want. In this case, I stick with the default. Now I hit apply because now I want to go to the forwarding tab. And if you see, now there is an extra button here called queue call. So obviously I want to queue the calls only when the salespeople are available. So at the office, so that would be on the day schedule. So on the day schedule, I will add a condition here, queue call. And I will select how long is the call going to be queued before the system plays the announcement. After the announcement is played, the user caller will hear music on hold. The call will still be queued, waiting for a member of the group to become available. There is still the possibility to filter the forwarding condition by call origin and even by presence regarding the UC condition, but this is also optional. So so let's assign a simple forwarding after 5 rings. So this will actually, instead of forward, actually trigger the queuing functionality and play the message. I need to tell you where the message needs to be stored. The message will be stored in the server. So how do I access a server from here? Well, when you install Inform Voice, even on the Ubuntu system, the install creates a share that we can access from this Windows machine. So I need to point to my Ubuntu server, and you will see the install created two shares. This share will be used for a specific feature, which is a call recording feature, and this is a general share that will allow us to see the file system of the InfoVoice application. And under this, you will find a media server entry, which is the entity within InfoVoice that has to deal with messaging in particular. Then we will look at the auto attendant folder AA, and then we will see a folder for our language, which is English. And here you will see the default announcement 0001 tab. So here you can simply add the WAV file with using the convention, and that will be taken by the system and used as the queue announcement you need. Just a little note about forwarding. There is not only forwarding using the IFV administrator, there is a handset forwarding using access codes. And the star code lists that I showed you will contain the access codes for handset forwarding. In summary, we learned how to configure groups, and we got a glimpse in how to assign call forwarding and all the possibilities that this feature gives us. With this, I thank you, and I see you in the next video.